your assistance on this. So, I mean, part of a memory like this, a celebration event like this, is to say something. That's your obligation, is a memory or a word even that defined Lynn for you, or an encounter. It can be funny, it can be warm, it can be serious, wherever you'd like to go with it. But help me out here. So, Abby. I don't. Savannah has, no, I'm not going to make that mistake again. Savannah has a microphone, and if you just raise your hand, she'll take it around to you. It could be a joke. One of the things Lynn and I, every once in a while when we see each other, is she loved jokes. And I can't remember, I can only remember a couple, but she loved Irish jokes, because that's our family heritage. And so if you know an Irish joke or something, we can always do that. Do you know, lads, what you call an Irishman who's been left out all winter long in the snow and the sleet? Do you know what you call him? Patio o' furniture. So there's a low bar for you that you like to do. So please, somebody, does anybody have a memory, a thought, a word?
I have, is this on? Okay, I have a memory and a thought and a word. So my name is Bob, and I'm friends with Chip and Richard, and from refereeing ice hockey, and I met him too many years ago, refereeing ice hockey. So our background is based on that. When Chip was working with the National Hockey League, I got a call one night. He says, "Hey man, I've got 2 tickets to the game." And I said, "Oh wow." I said, "What happened?" He goes, "Well, I was going to give them to my mom, but she's sick." Now, transgress just a second. I've only met your mom a couple of times, and one was at your sister's funeral. So as I'm offering my condolences to her, she says, "You don't have a plate of food." So even in one of her most devastating times, this woman was feeding everybody, even to the end. And I knew she was a woman of faith. I knew she was a woman of prayer, not because of that she told me, but because of the way she acted and the way she treated me. So Chip says, "Yeah, I'll just leave the tickets at the front gate for you." And I said, "You know, your mom really is a woman of faith and a woman of prayer, so tell her that I'm going to pray for her." I said, "But I know she knows the power of prayer, so tell her I'm not going to pray for her until after the national anthem."
Family members, you know, if you didn't speak already, there's a requirement in this, especially for your Nana.
No requirement.
Well, Ellen, you want to go? Ellen and I were going to say a little bit.
Ellie, you want to speak?
Molly stays up with her.
Hello?
I'm Nana's granddaughter named Ella. This is my mom's. Done.
Your grandmother's done. Chop chop. Okay. Ella says chop chop. I better start.
Okay, I just had a few little cute stories about Mom. My brother Chip had already mentioned about her texting language. So she would send me a text. She would type LBGSTRNW. And I'd look at it and I'd like send her a question mark back. She'd just cut and paste. And the next one, the same thing, send it right back. So then I call her and I say, "Mom, I don't understand what you're saying. What did you say?" And she said, "Well, I'm leaving the store now." And I say, okay. So this went on, and we were always joking about her cryptic text that we had to somehow ask each other about and ask her about and try to figure out. So she finally let me know one day that she would leave all the vowels out of the words. And then I'm leaving, like she would leave out a consonant also. But once we figured out her code, we cracked the Nana code. You have to read it as if it has no vowels, because it doesn't have any vowels, and then you can kind of figure it out. Just 2 more quick things. She loved flowers, was such a gardener, and we were always teasing her because she would like on plants, she would clip off a little part, put it in some water and let it root. So she had all these like clippings that were rooting everywhere. I mean, all over the kitchen, all over the windowsills. We're just like, stop the clippings, too many plants, too many plants. But that was just her. And then some of them, I can't remember exactly, she would like take a clipping from like my grandmother Mimi's home, my dad's mom in Boston, but then plant it up in Vermont. So like at Crabapple Cottage, there's some, I believe they're lilies from Mimi's home in Boston. So some of them were neat and historical, but we would just always tease her, there were so many.
And I have a story about it. So people are going at me, someone else, and I think my mom was, so we were going to this restaurant, I think at the sea or something, I don't know, but there was flowers on the side, and Nana got the flowers in front of her and plucked them. Like literally plucked them. No idea. I was about to yell at her, Nana, don't touch those flowers. People already plucked them. Oh my gosh. Worst day ever. Not my day.
So that was last summer in Boston, Chip, when we were going on the whale watching tour, and Mom was messing with the flowers that night at dinner, helping the restaurant. The flowers weren't quite arranged to Nana's standards, and she was like messing with the flowers. Right, exactly. Right.
And also, I was like asking her, what are you doing? And she was like, I'm just plucking the flowers. And I'm like, seriously? Leave the flowers alone. They can live on their own.
Okay, so our last little comment is, which was alluded to in this service, was Mom loved golf so much. Dad and Mom would go to the Masters golf tournament every April over in Augusta, like all through the 60s when they lived in Charlotte, so closer. And some from Birmingham and not as much in Atlanta when they got older. But so for her 80th birthday 2 years ago, Jim very graciously got tickets to the Masters at one of the practice rounds. I know it was like the Thursday. It's the round, that's right. Okay, so the Thursday part of the tournament. For Mom and I to go, because that'd be part of her like 80th birthday celebration, because just loves to watch golf, knows about the golfers, always up with who's leading in the rankings and everything. So we went over early that morning. It's a whole day. You leave like 5:30 in the morning from Atlanta, and you get back at like 8 o'clock at night. And we go over there. We sit on the first tee, and you take these little like stool things that you can sit on, and then you pick it up easily and keep going. So she sat down on her stool, and I'm there, and we're watching everybody go off, and we watched pretty much everybody go off. Like no one was left on the first tee box. And so Mom's sitting there, and she's like, I can't get up. I'm like, well, I'll help you up. I'm sorry, I should have thought to help you up from the little stool thing. So I try to help her up. I can't get her up. We're kind of on a slope. She's kind of above me, and I'm like pulling. So she's like, let me rest, just, we'll try it again in a second. So we sit there. No one's left on the tee box. Everybody's following the golfers around the course. So we tried it again, but by this time we're dying laughing. Like I'm laughing, she's laughing, then you have no strength. So I said, okay, Mama, I'm gonna go get someone to help us. Like somebody can help us who's stronger than me, get you up. But finally, she actually did get up. And so we spent all day walking all over the course. And the course is pretty hilly, it's pretty, I mean, such a trooper. We go to the holes called Amen Corner, which is, what, 11, 12, 13, what is it? 11, 12, 13. Ooh. Can I go this April? Because Mom and Dad loved, that was their spot. Like on 12, I think, was their spot where they'd sit and watch all the golfers come through. It's a great day. Tournament is over for the day. We're walking back across, and I look on the map, and this most direct route was just basically straight across like 4 holes or so, I think, the way that it was laid out. But what I did not realize was it was like this again, like it could be flatter if we took a longer route. So I was asking Mom, what do you want to do? She's like, just straight to the car, straight across the hills. So I'm like, okay, we'll do it. Well, she did good until we had like one more fairway to cross, which was very long or wide. And she's like, I'm done. I'm gonna sit here under this tree. I'm done. I need a golf cart to get to the parking lot. I'm like, well, that's right. I'll go find somebody. You're 80 years old. They're gonna, it'll be fine. So I'll find a security guard type person and say, I'm here with my 80-year-old mother. We've been here all day. She's exhausted, cannot walk anymore. Can we get a golf cart ride to the car? And he said, well, she'd have to go to the medical tent first and be checked out. We have a protocol. We don't get a golf cart ride, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh dear. I'm like, well, come with me. You can tell her that. She's not going to be happy, Because she wasn't ill. She was just exhausted.
Dun, dun, dun.
So, wrapping up the story, the guy comes over, tells her that, and all of you know, you can hear Mom, I'm not going to that medical tent. I'm fine. Just take me to my car. I don't need to be checked out. So they took her to the medical tent, which actually was like a building. It was like a medical clinic, really, on the grounds there. And they're asking, what was wrong? She's like, nothing is wrong. I want to ride to my car. Blah, blah, blah. They're checking her heart and everything. And they finally let us go. And then they're like, okay, now we can drive you to the car. You checked off all the protocol things. And she's like, nope, gets her little purse on and then walks the rest of the way to the car. That is Mom. Okay, last comment. I just want to thank family, friends, everyone who's made all this come together and honor Mom. It's been just perfect. Just exactly what she would want. So a lot of effort has gone into it. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you, Molly. Thank you for all your work. Anyone else?
Sure. I will. I'm Donna.
She's coming over.
She's coming over soon. Well, I feel like I know most all the family because we got to see all of you through Lynn's eyes. And we got to hear all your stories. But we have some to add, and I want to get with you, Bob, because we know more about the end, and you share with us some of those beginning things. We know you were up on stage for sure. I'm not standing because I really broke my ankle right before Christmas, and your mother, your grandmother, and your friend helped us get through almost 2.5 months of difficulty with me on a couch for 6 weeks, and my sister at the same time going through getting a defibrillator put in. So Lynn was one that was servant's heart. She was always there, always came. She had a remote to our house. Our house was her house, so she just blast in and either say something and wave or keep on going or sit down for a few minutes. But Tex-Mex, Wayne asked her for that more than once. Now, out of all those months, everybody brought food, and we were so thankful, so gracious of everyone. But what occurred is everything was different, always, always. And it was like God just gave us something like this to eat from. We were so blessed. But Wayne finally, and our nephew and niece and their family had to have more of her Tex-Mex, there's no doubt. But I wanted to share a couple funny stories, and I know for sure that Chip and Molly and Richard could probably appeal to this, but this really is something that is a Christmas ornament. And this is just one of, I thought, out of 5, but it's out of 7 phones that Lynn went through. This one right here was smashed and run over and ended up in a field along with all of her other identification and everything as Chip and Abby, I think at the time, were headed up to Vermont, right? And so people found the identification that day. You guys found it, and then finally found the phone. And I said, well, just give it to me. We're making an ornament because we go through phones all the time. So this is a Christmas ornament out of her phone. So just today, you may not have heard this piece of it, but Chip added a little more to that story, unless you want to tell it, Chip. You might want to. The phone story of, well, there was another one that was real messed up like this that you have.
Let me show that.
You can throw that in. But anyway, along the way, the texting and the language that's used, I got to where I knew it all. I had it all, and we had a pact that I always worried about her when she'd leave the house, especially if it was in the evening or she was leaving somebody else's. And so she was required to text in, I'm home, I'm contained, I'm strained, I've got the restrained, I've got the kitties, and all is well. And she used to always tell me, do not worry, don't, my Father has me. Now this is true. My Father has me. Remember the sparrow. Remember the eye is on the sparrow. And I said, your Father knows it all, but I don't. When you get in, you text me and let me know you're there, because I didn't know the rest of it. You share your piece, and I'm going to come back and tell a little more on the Bev Shea story and the sparrow piece.
I believe in the last 5 years, Mom's been through, am I turned on, turned off?
Kiss the mic.
In the last 5 years, I believe Mom's been through 7 cell phones.
Yeah.
She calls me one day from her landline. She says, Chip, there's something wrong with my cell phone. So I go over to the house to see what's going on with it. And she hands me an iPhone that has got the insides of it coming out of a seam that I didn't even know existed in an iPhone. Straight-faced, dead serious. She hands me the iPhone and she says, Chip, it had a water spot on the inside of the screen. I said, okay. What else? And she said, well, it was like that when I took it out of the oven. Apparently she thought she could get rid of the water spot by putting it in a 350-degree oven for 45 minutes.
And she tells that to the captain of the fire department. Now you know why we had to make sure she was contained and restrained. Do it all. But the other piece, I thought she had 5 phones. He said 7 today, but I can't tell you the number of passwords. They're all on a sheet of paper every time a password would get. That was just her little deal. But you never knew what you were going to get on the phone. It could have been a picture of her location. It could have been a picture of her FaceTime Facebook, and I'd say, you're in your jammies, don't send this. You know, she didn't know, she didn't realize she was sending. But there was so much laughter with all of that. But to get serious for just a minute, we just looked this up a little bit ago because she had always shared that Bev Shea meant so much to her. And he was kind of like her hero, and that she'd kind of grown up, as everyone has spoken, with Billy Graham and Beverly Shea and all the rest of them in the group with the Crusades. When she was 12 years old, her birthday, when she was 21 years old, her birthday, reverse those numbers, and it was 1957. And it was Madison Square Garden, and in New York City, which was one of his proposed almost longest running. Her dad had called her up on stage, up on the platform, and she wasn't going. She said, I'm not going. And her dad finally said, you're coming. So she came on up, and the ironic thing was he wanted her to begin to sing Happy Birthday, to get the crowds to sing Happy Birthday. He wanted her to get them to do that. She froze. She just froze. So Bev Shea comes across, and he begins the birthday thing and saved her. So she always remembered that and was always close with him all the time. And listened to his music, and she was listening, as someone said in the service. She and Debbie would ride with the CD, Beverly Shea's CD, in the car, and she would sing. They would sing loud and so forth. And on the night she went home to be with Jesus, it was always there in her heart, and she would mention the eye being on the sparrow and therefore not to worry over her. But I guess some kind of assurance of that came when we had to leave and were headed to the hospital after we had spoken with some of the officers who had come to inquire and spend time with us. And we knew by that point, I had texted Molly, and we got a message back that she had passed. And needless to say, we were upset at the time as we went to the car. And in the car was the CD of Bev Shea, and the husband of one of our Bible study members had already turned the car on to warm it up. And so when I went to get in the back seat, you know how you just lean in and open the door, and out came Bev Shea's words, "His eye is on the sparrow." And so I just thought, well, he's got her. She's right there, and she's in his rest now, and there should be joy. There should be joy, because she was a faithful, faithful person as far as believing and knowing and actually living out her faith day in and day out. Her family, her faith, her friends, I know it's a cliche that a lot of people use, but this was a witness to her life. That's who she was. And he did say, "Well done, good and faithful servant." No doubt about it.
Thank you. Thank you. It's interesting, in 2008, at Billy's 90th birthday, that Lynn was at with some of the family, Bev led "Happy Birthday" to Billy. He was 99 at the time. And then after the cake was cut, he came over to say hi to Lynn.
Oh, dear.
So that was real special. Uncle Bev, he was great. Anything else? Someone else? Jenny?
So, hi, I'm Jenny, and Lynn was my aunt. There we go. Betty's my my mom, and I don't have a specific story about Aunt Lynn, but a little background. I live in California. Came from California to go to school at Covenant, and all the way out east. And that first year, for Thanksgiving, because I couldn't go home to California, Lynn and Molly invited me to come, and that started sort of my getting to know better Lynn, Molly, and that side of the family that I didn't get to see very often living in California. So just overall, my aunt was an amazing, loving, welcoming person, and I loved being able to have that family, center in Atlanta while I was missing my family back in California. And that's lasted for almost 20 years since I first moved out east. And I will miss my aunt very much. In fact, recently I talked about trying to come back and do a visit, and unfortunately, this is how it happened. But I also want to say that Lynn raised an amazing daughter, because Molly also kind of took me in, helping me out that first couple of years as I was living in the Atlanta area, so. That I don't have a good way to end that, but anyway, that's what I have to say about that.
Thanks. Do you know why, lad, that there is never a recession in Ireland? Because the capital is always Dublin. Somebody help me.
Okay, hi, I'm Blake. Lynn was my grandmother, and she got me a lot of books for birthdays, and I will admit that I never read any of them. I only kept them because I didn't want to hurt her feelings. So recently I have gotten back into readings, so I'm thinking, yeah, I'm probably gonna check those books out again, and that's all.
That would be a great gift to your Nana. Anyone else?
I'll say something.
Here you go, Jay.
So kind of a little bit of a story, but I think someone mentioned, I don't remember who it was, the word they thought about. When they thought Nana was present, that she was just always at everything for her family. So growing up, I think I played every sport badly, and she came and watched all of it. And again, with being present, it's kind of a running joke in our family that when someone like goes anywhere, the entire family comes. So I moved into college 4 times with like 57 people moving in. My most recent move to my new apartment, Nana said she'd been collecting things that was going to go in my apartment. And I'm sure all of you believe she had things, just in general, but also for me. She said it was things that would go well in a guy's apartment. Y'all can make a decision on that. But she came, she moved in. It was kind of busy, everyone putting stuff away, so I didn't really focus on who was doing what. Everyone kind of, we finished and left, and I had a chance to look at what everything happened, and I kept finding Nana's pieces. And I thought, she did say that it was going to go well in a guy's apartment, right? Because there is a teapot, it's still in there, I'll keep it now. There's a teapot, there's a bunch of plants, which if you know her, there's plants. And then one of the pieces, I think it was August, but it's this enormous pumpkin from a pumpkin patch, and it says, "Happy Fall, y'all," which stays up year-round because I'm a guy and don't have particular seasons, but all my friends still come in and say, "What's up with your Happy Fall, y'all?" Jack-o'-lantern, I guess is what it is, and I say, "Oh, my Nana put that up there. She had stuff for a guy's apartment."
That's great, thank you. Anyone else? Do you know why? You never put more than 239 beans in Irish soup. Because just 1 bean more would make it 240. Lynn laughed. If you just do this for me. Think of a word. Just think of a word that comes to your mind. Just one word. And we're all going to say it together. It's going to be different words. It'll be a cacophony of celebration for who Lynn was for you. And you'll say it on 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Thank you for being part of this remarkable celebration, for all the different angles, for the great web of love that Lynn spread with her life through family and friends. We're glad you were able to be here today.